Morning, YouTube. Forgive me, I just woke up. Um, yeah, so this morning I did my usual routine, wake up, watch a little porn, then look for some Bernie videos online. I'm joking. Or am I? Anyway, so this morning I wanted to talk about, um, I wanted to tell you guys something that happened at work a couple weeks ago. And I've been seeing happening the last couple days. So, as a mechanical engineer, going to work every day, it's really hard to resist the urge to talk about politics. And the reason why is because, as somebody who is a liberal, and especially someone as a black man in engineering, there are certain stereotypes that goes with liberals, and especially a black person as a liberal, you're exposed to a lot of racism. And the racism isn't intentional, it's just so ingrained in our day-to-day life, So it's very difficult, and we always have to be conscious of not giving people an opportunity to confirm a racist stereotype. So what am I talking about? There is a general perception among conservatives that even when somebody is working with you every day, that if someone's black, they're looking for a handout. They're looking for an easy way. They got the job due to, the affirmative action and all of that stuff. So you constantly have to be fighting to prove yourself. The other thing, and then you throw in the stereotypes that people have against liberals, that liberals are just a bunch of lazy people who are just looking for handouts and stuff at work. So if you're a black man who is a liberal, oh man, you're opening up a can of worms right there. And that can have negative effects on you in your career. But I wanted to share this story about a friend of mine, a fellow engineer. He's been an engineer for over 40 years right now. This is like his last ride before he retires. And he is one of my, if I had to make a list of maybe the top 10 people who I've really, really been fortunate to meet, this guy would definitely be like number one or number two of them. I've learned so much from him. He's a libertarian, more from the Ron Paul school of politics. Loves the idea of small government, personal responsibility, etc. Deep conservative. The other day we were at lunch in the break room and we were talking about the financial system, etc. So we like to talk about that stuff at lunch, And he said something amazing. You know what he said? This is at the lunch table, big lunchroom. He just says out to the blue, you know what, guys, this is going to sound crazy, but I think we all should just go ahead and vote for Bernie Sanders, man. Like, he is the only one that makes sense. And he's the only one who's going to go after these bank fuckers and break them up. And that's what needs to happen. You heard me right. Deep Ron Paul, libertarian, just said that out loud in the cafeteria at work. And what was amazing was the reaction. A bunch of the other engineers just started nodding their head and they're like, yeah, you're right. I mean, he really is the only shot. Him or Trump. That, to me, speaks volumes. because what it's talking about is the shift in values that's taking place right now, where even far right people, and this guy, he's no liberal, you know, he's liberal on some issues. Like, he agrees that some guns really shouldn't be available for sale. And he told me that. He's like, I'll go to the shooting range and sometimes he'll see some shit like, man, that really should be just the military that has that. And this guy, he's a guy who owns literally hundreds of guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition. He's been buying weaponry since he's, in his 20s. He jokes about it sometimes that it's starting to become a hazard, because he's got so much ammunition. But even somebody like that recognizes the need for some degree of gun control. And even somebody like that, a deep conservative who's voted Republican every single year, is now strongly for Bernie Sanders. This man said that he hopes to God that Hillary does not win the Democratic nomination. And if it's Bernie Sanders versus Trump, he said he is absolutely voting for Bernie Sanders. And he said, and I quote, "We need somebody with a vision. Bernie Sanders is the only one with any common sense and the only one who is a visionary. And that's what we need." He then also told me, because he has done international contract, he told me about contracting in Sweden. And he's like, he was there, him and his wife. And he said that, they have these trains that run across the country. And you just drive your car up, you drive onto the train, you park, you turn your music on, and you just relax. And the train takes you across the country. And then you get to your location, the train, it opens up, you drive off the train and you go where you want to go. Why don't we have that here? Was what he asked. And that's a freaking good question. Why the fuck don't we have technology like that? Imagine that. We had a train that could take you from New York to California in a couple hours. And not just take you just take your body, but take your car with you. Why don't we have technology like that? And that technology has existed in Sweden for how many decades now? That's what he's talking about. That's what Bernie Sanders is talking about. And that's the kind of future that I want to see. And I'm sure many of you subscribing to this channel and watching my videos want as well. We have a golden opportunity, and I think we'll pull it off. Thanks for watching again.